Stakes are high as African dignitaries met Russian President Vladimir Putin in St Petersburg for the second edition of the Russia-Africa Summit on July 27. Growing pressure from US and EU diplomats who stand against the war in Ukraine have raised concern from the massive destruction of property and lives lost. This war was started, according to experts, with the NATO expansion to the east.
NATO is not providing direct lethal assistance. The NATO alliance is not training Ukrainian soldiers. We are leaving that to individual countries. That's their own sovereign decision to make. And we want to make sure that our friends in Africa understand what's at stake in Ukraine, understand what NATO is and is not doing. I would note that NATO is providing some important non-lethal support to our friends in Ukraine.
Despite the ongoing pressure campaign for African countries to stand with Ukraine, 17 heads of states out of intended 43 were in St Petersburg in what can be seen as a way to seek new allies for Russia. Nevertheless, the US ambassador to NATO sees the absence of the remaining countries as a signal. Russia has recently terminated the Black Sea grain deal, which many believe will negatively impact certain African nations.
Some leaders in Africa now feel compelled not to go to signal their concern about Russia's unprovoked aggression in Ukraine.
The issue of food security is one of the most urgent on the continent, and African leaders are looking to President Putin for concrete promises on grain supplies.
As Russia withdraws from the very important Black Sea Grain Initiative, are there concerns by African leaders that that action by Russia will impact food security in their own country? If that leader is feeling the impact of that war, particularly as it relates to food security, then they may indeed feel compelled to go to the Russians and urge them to, number one, get the grain deal back online, and number two, end the war as soon as possible.
According to analysts, Africa and NATO cooperation seems to be one of the destructive alliances, as many seem to remember the key role the allies played in the Libyan Arab Spring back in 2011 when they ousted its strongman, Muammar Gaddafi.